Welcome back, adventurers, to the Total Party Kitchen, the show where we make every recipe in the official Dungeons and Dragons cookbook called Heroes Feast. And today's recipe is one that I've seen a lot on YouTube. It's called Orc Bacon. And let me just read you the description here. So, Orc Bacon. No, it's not made from orcs, but for orcs. Half orcs find this delectable snack quite to their taste, as do the Goliaths of Eberron and a few game humans and halflings. It is said that the half orc named Masmaramus, sure, was the first to discover this pungent recipe for cured pork strips, which you can practically taste from 20 yards away. Sometimes called the pork of Grumsh, orcs flavor this with black pepper and garlic. Halflings might instead smooth off the edge with some maple syrup. Experienced adventuring parties venture into orc lands know that dropping a bundle of bacon can throw pursuers off their trail, and orcs have been known to barter with humans who carry it. For the best results, try using a Thayan Doomvault swine rum pork. It has the right potency. So we went about like we always do, and we whipped up this recipe to check it out and see what it's all about and how difficult it was. So let's get right to that footage. So first things first, we preheat the oven to 375 degrees. And then we're just going to take a piece of parchment paper. You can use an aluminum foil and line a baking sheet. And then we're going to put a rack there to keep the bacon up out of the grease. And then we're going to take thick sliced bacon and we're going to lay it across that rack. We're going to get it in there as close to each other as we can. And don't be afraid to kind of crowd it at this point, because that bacon's going to shrink up. Our bacon was a little too large for our baking sheet, so we had to make some accommodations, but in the end it turned out just okay. Not just okay, it turned out fine, but it didn't cause us any real problems, I should say. So yeah, we're just going to reposition, try and get that as much of that pound of bacon on there as we can. There we go. So it's even overlapping a little, and that's just fine. So now we're going to throw that into the oven. And we're going to cook that for approximately 12 minutes. You want some of that fat to render down. And while we're doing that, we're going to make the baste. And so to a bowl, we're going to add 3 tablespoons of light brown sugar. And this gives it a nice sweet taste. And it's probably the most prominent ingredient in the baste. And then to that, we are going to add a half teaspoon of freshly ground black pepper. If you don't have freshly ground, you can probably just use pre-ground, but freshly ground is far better. And then to that, we're going to add a teaspoon of garlic powder. And then for a little bit of liquid, we're going to add 2 tablespoons of orange juice. This was kind of the most surprising ingredient in this, but it actually gave it a really nice taste. I mean, it's bacon. How wrong can you go with bacon? So we're just going to add that orange juice right there. And then we're just going to mix that together with a whisk to combine all those ingredients together. And you don't have to go crazy. You just want to make sure everything's evenly combined. And then once that timer goes off and we get to 12 minutes, some of that fat has rendered down. You can see our tray's still a little crowded, but we made do. And we're just going to, about half of this basting liquid we're going to use at this point, and we're just going to brush it on. If you don't have a brush, you can use a spoon and just kind of spoon it across the top. Either way works. And then once this part is done, it's going to go back into the oven. So just make sure we get everything covered. It goes back into the oven for about 7 more minutes. And after 7 more minutes, we're going to pull that out. And now we're going to use tongs and kind of give these a flip. We're going to kind of organize them a little better because now they have rendered down some, so it's going to fit better onto the rack and give us the space that we needed before. And at this point, it smelled, amazing. It's bacon, you know. It's kind of the perfect food. Once we get this kind of all situated and organized and make sure we flip every slice, we're going to go back and just use the rest of the basting liquid to coat the other side and make sure that every bit is covered. We had some really thick bacon, and I felt like maybe we could have used a little more basting liquid, but all in all, it worked out fine. So don't be afraid to kind of maybe increase that ingredients for the basting liquid to maybe by 50%. You know, if you have a little bit more, it's always better to have more and not need it, I suppose. And then this is just going to go back into the oven for another 5 to 7 minutes. It really depends on how you like your bacon. We ran into a little bit of a problem. We forgot to set the Alexa timer. So when we checked the timer, it had not been set. So the bacon came out for us a little more crisp than we normally would prefer. But, it wasn't bad. It wasn't burnt. And it was pretty delicious. The Heroes Feast cookbook shows it served in a metal chalice. We had a glass mug, so we figured that would make do. And so here we are, just putting it into a mug. And I tell you, if I was over someone's house playing Dungeons and Dragons and they put down a giant mug of bacon for the table to share and pick at, it's my kind of game right there. It was really good. It was a little sweet, definitely savory. The basting liquid didn't cover the overall taste of the bacon, which, you want to enhance it. You don't want to cover it up. And it's a very simple recipe. It's definitely not for vegans. So our cleric that we play with will probably not be partaking, but we were actually talking about the next time we played in person that we're going to whip some of this up and put it out for the table. You should definitely give it a try. And it was, again, real simple, a little bit of mixing and putting bacon in an oven. Anyone can do that. Just watch out for the grease, which is always an issue when you're working with bacon. And other than that, yeah, it was a delicious snack. And so that's pretty much it for this episode and Orc Bacon. So make sure you check it out. And we will catch you here again the next time on Total Party Kitchen, where we're going to roll the dice and pick another recipe from the Heroes Feast cookbook. And we'll see how that one goes. So good luck in your kitchen, and make sure you give this one a try. Thanks.